session of the day, we still have one more country that we need to shine the spotlight on, and that is Brazil. And chairing this session is one of the most well-known Sesame women in the house. We have Ms. Najla Souza of Institutional Relations. She's the Institutional Relations Director for IBRAFE. The speakers joining her on the panel, the speakers will be Mr. Julio Mariucci of Coperaguas. We would have the owner and CEO of Atlas Agro, Mr. Bernardo Garcia. We would have once again Mr. Pietro Schisler and Mr. Juliano Jallageas would be joining us from Dassoler. Ladies and gentlemen, as I invite all these guests to please take their places on the stage, inviting all of you, please begin to settle down on the stage as I start talking about you. Ladies and gentlemen, today in the morning we unveiled Sesame Woman. Let me tell you, the power boss woman Najla Souza is one of the ladies featured in that, a dynamic broker specializing in Brazilian sesame seeds with a strong focus on fostering international business opportunities for beans and sesame. She's based in Brazil and leverages her extensive experience in foreign trade to connect Brazilian clients with reliable overseas customers. Please settle down. Our next speaker would be Mr. Julio Mariucci. Also on the stage, we have Mr. Bernardo Garcia, the owner and CEO of Atlas Agro. And in addition to his role at Atlas, Bernardo is the managing partner at Shift Capital and also holds a board position at Terra Magna and previously at Bluefit Academia, reflecting his broad experience in strategic leadership and investment. I have already introduced Mr. Pietro Schisler in the morning, and our final speaker this evening will be Mr. Juliano Jallageas. Is a trader at Dassoler Agro, where he specializes in identifying and developing new international business partnerships. And with an approach focused on market expansion, he excels in establishing strategic connections and promoting companies' global growth. I hand over the session to Ms. Najla, and please take it forward.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for the great introduction. It's a pleasure to be here and alongside these companies from Brazil to talk about Brazilian sesame. I believe this is a conversation that has been a long time coming. This opportunity is the first time that we bring a panel on Brazil for this event. So first I will talk a little bit about my work and then let my estimated colleagues talk about their company and most important, their point of view and their own experience on the sesame market. So I work for IBRAFE. We are the Brazilian Sesame and Pulses and other special crops associations. We work mostly with our growers and our exporters. On our exporters side, we do our work focused on trade promotion, and it only happens because of the support of our government. So Apex Brazil is a very important partner for us. They fund a part of our efforts on promoting sesame and pulses around the world. We have also the support of the Ministry of Agriculture. So we have here today with us our agricultural attaché. It's very important, his presence here. But the most important is, once we associate, and I'd like to congratulate Pakistan for the same effort, we are able to consolidate our presence in the market. And this is what we are here to say also. Brazil is here to stay. So I have a very simple slide on IBRAFE, just so you know what we do. And without elongating this much, because we are the last session of the day, I'd like to hand the word to Mr. Bernardo from Atlas to talk.
Thank you, Najla. It's a pleasure to be here with you all. I greet all of the participants and all of the countries, producers, traders, buyers. Najla, I would also like to congratulate you on the work that has been done so far on IBRAFE. And for the organization team of the event, for the quality of the content that we've been seeing in this first day so far. We're happy to be part of it, and we hope that events such as this one and the ones that we've been promoting in Brazil can increase in quality of content and the presence of all of you. So I wanted to talk a little bit about Atlas, but on a context of what would be the Brazilian promise, which is a bit of what we wanted to show to you today. And in Atlas particularly, we are today focused in Sesame, and that's how we position ourselves. We're a company passionate for Sesame. A little bit of what we have done so far, depending on the different rankings, we are appearing as one of the top 3 Brazilian sesame exporters. So, well, we're always there, shoulder to shoulder with our friends at Arbaza and other players. Depends on the quarter. And for 2024, we have had over 150,000. That's a shocking number. And of total contracts in Atlas, and this is an interesting number I looked up 2 days ago. That's 1.3 times the size of Hong Kong as a whole in hectares of contracts that we have done in Atlas for 2024. There is a catch, though, to this number, which is many times these producers, these farmers that work with us, also work with other companies, such as Arbaza right here. Yesterday, we found out that there is a farmer that sold, not at the same area, the same sesame to us and to them, and now we're having to discuss who's going to keep that product. And it's things like this, unfortunately, are still going to happen because sesame in Brazil is still becoming a professional market when it comes to farmers. But anyways, these are impressive numbers that we've been able to accomplish. In terms of production capacity to fulfill the contracts with our clients, we are today capable of producing a little bit over 15,000 metric tons of 99.95% product in our facilities. We have also introduced a full FFA monitoring system in order to assure quality. We're going to talk a little bit about that. And we have designed the first sesame-specific silos in Brazil alongside a technical university of the country. And we're also going to show you a little bit of what this is and what it means for sesame in a mechanized harvest type of way. Just a little bit of where we are. So our main facilities are based in Mato Grosso, in the city of Canarana, which many say is the birthplace of sesame in Brazil, with facilities now being under construction in another important state in Brazil that is Tocantins, but I think maybe 8 offices in different states at this point, a distribution center in São Paulo, working in 3 different ports in Brazil. That's the gist of it. And indeed, there is a revolution in sesame in Brazil right now. That's, I think, clear for everyone. This revolution is happening, and the way it is happening will change the global landscape of sesame forever. And basically, it's because of the way that we harvest sesame and some of the characteristics of our farms and our producers, right? So in Brazil, the average farm, which is a number far below what we actually find as professional farmers, is of 50 hectares per farm. While in Africa, from Africa to China, numbers might vary from region to region, but from 1 to 3 hectares per farm in average. So we could say that we are 15 times larger in the average farm, but currently the average farm that closes a contract with Atlas, and I believe it would be the same for our players, our competitors here, is around 1,000 hectares. That's the average size of a farm that is closing contracts with Atlas. Of course, they are not planting all of their area in sesame. I think we heard Pietro talking about millet, sorghum, corn, and all the other varieties that give the farmer power. And the farmer needs power of choice and a portfolio to produce. But indeed, farmers are big and farmers are mechanized. That mechanization is what allows us to reduce workforce, manpower required by, with no exaggeration, hundreds of times in comparison to manual harvest. Of course, it's going to reduce cost on one side. On the other side, these machines are way more expensive than many times the cost of labor in certain countries where conditions of workforce and life are very below what would be expected. So there is a counterbalance to that. So we're mechanizing on one side, but the cost of production doesn't reduce as much as we would like. Anyways, we are able to be competitive, even though we are far from many of the consuming countries in the Middle East and Asia. And what we think is going to happen is that this mechanized harvest is going to increase in quality in such a way that some of the disparities that we see today against some African countries are going to be reduced little by little, right? But it's a fact that the capacity of Brazil to become a leading producer, a leading provider in any commodity is well known to everyone. We are the leading exporters of soybean. I believe this year we've become the leading exporters also of corn. We have 72% of the market of orange juice. And many of the specialties, we're always amongst the three top exporters of many of the commodities that Brazil has been able to mechanize. But when it comes to sesame and the Brazilian sesame promise, there are challenges, and those challenges also become opportunities to us exporters, right? So the first of them is what clients want, and clients want amazing taste. That's what most of the clients in the tahini and in the hulled markets are looking for, maybe a little less in the crushing grade. But the problem here is that when we talk about the varieties that are chosen by a country such as Brazil, and we're seeing the same thing in Pakistan, is that 90% of Brazilian production is of a K3 variety, which is a non-sweet variety, and therefore it is less desirable for many of those products, sub-products. That's why also when we see production arising, we can see that the price becomes lower in comparison to the sweet varieties as well. Because K3 production in Brazil has grown way more than the sweet varieties, which maintain a higher value in the market and have not decreased. We've not seen such decrease happening, at least not from Brazilian origin. The reason why these farmers are choosing K3 is because of non-shattering properties of that variety, which makes it easier to mechanize, to harvest on a mechanized way. And of course, that is a problem, right? I mean, we need to deliver amazing taste to our clients, but at the same time, be able to deliver productivity to our farmers in order for them to choose those sweet varieties. And that's why recently Atlas has built this very strong exclusive partnership with Equinom to introduce to the local market some varieties. We call them commercially Victoria, Jordan, Honeymoon. There's other 6 varieties we will be bringing into the country in the next 2 to 3 years. And these varieties, they have this very strong appeal to them because at the same time they are sweet and they have the non-shattering capacity, genetics, and they're also more productive. So this could be potentially very expressive to Brazil in the sense of bringing more productivity, more profitability to the farmers, increasing the production of sweet varieties, and at the same time delivering a better landscape of Brazilian product to the global market. So we're very excited with what these varieties have to offer. And this is a point that I want to stress a little bit. Of course, this has been a challenge. Pietro, we've heard him talk a little about it earlier, and I completely agree with him. I'm going to show a bit of data from Atlas that mechanized harvest was believed to increase FFA levels, but we can say for certain this is just not the case. Mechanized harvest is not what is in itself increasing the FFA levels. Of course, if it's terribly done, anything that is terribly done is going to increase FFA levels. If we step on the sesame, it's going to increase its FFA level. But the reality is that when we have introduced this full FFA monitoring system, where we are testing for FFA when the cargo arrives from the farm in the truck. So before it's deployed in our warehouses, we test it for FFA. We might reject the cargo. We have done it a few times this year. Then we test it when it's stored inside a silo, like the second picture there. We test it under production, so there's different points inside our production system where we take the samples and test the FFA, also to understand in which points of the production there is more friction, and therefore there is an increased FFA. We test final product in our warehouses, so the product is going to be shipped to the client and is stored. But most importantly, we test it when we have a filled container to make sure that this final product is going, and that's a personal test, it's not the certificate of quality, that's an Atlas test, to be sure that the product is getting to the client in the right way. All of this is done in a lab in our facilities. And these are actual numbers. Of course, it's a sample, randomized, but these are numbers from this year. Arrival is the first. It's when the trucks come from the farms. And export, of course, it's when we have a filled container. And what we see here so far is that, first of all, FFA levels are very low. As you said earlier, 0.3, 0.5% is what we are seeing upon arrival. And what we are seeing is that upon export, the levels are pretty much the same. What you see in the red dotted box are the rejected loads that we have, so trucks or exports. Yes, we do reject some cargo in arrival that are above 1.5% on FFA levels in order to guarantee that we can deliver 2% FFA levels to our clients. That can or may not be done, we decide upon each test. But the fact is that what we are seeing is that the quality of mechanized harvest and the quality of processes has increased in such a way that when we deployed this full FFA measurement system, the only situations in which FFA is higher than it should be and the samples are discarded is when some mistake has actually been made, okay? There is no particular proof that mechanized harvesting is increasing FFA levels. We can prove that on numbers. And what we have seen in the past, it hasn't happened particularly with our company, it has happened with other players in the market, is that storage, that one might be a big problem for increased FFA. Sesame, as we all know, is a very delicate, small, high oil content product with a very small skin. So it might rupture with pressure, for example, in a way that will extrude oil, and that oil in contact with oxygen will oxidize, and that's what FFA actually means. It happens more prominently if you put it in a very tall silo. So it has happened in the past in Brazil. So personally, I wouldn't recommend sesame to be stored in silos of other types of products such as soybeans. And that's the reason why in Atlas, we spent 2 years before building our first silos, spent 2 years working together with a technical university in Brazil, measuring the kilogram Pascal capacity for pressure for one single seed of sesame. So we wanted to understand what is the total height that is that a sesame seed is capable to sustain, and the weight of other sesame seeds on top of it. So what we're looking for is what's the total and the maximum height for a silo, what is the maximum width for a silo. And so we've done the measurements to avoid crushing. So basically, the silos that we have designed and that we have built have these three main characteristics. It's measured specifically for sesame. It has anti-impact cushioning system when we are loading, because when the sesame seed falls all the way up from a tall silo to the floor of it, it will also break. So it shouldn't be done like that. There are very specific ways we avoid that. And specific materials, especially for the unloading of that silo. So that is a very important part of maintaining. Pietro talked about temperature, and I believe he's 100% correct, but also the design of the silo will increase the maintenance of quality. And these types of things, I believe you will not hear from any other country aside from Brazil. Because when it comes to agribusiness technology, we are on the front line of global technology, especially for mechanized harvesting, seed grain storage, and these are the types of things that you might expect from Brazilian exporters and Brazilian companies in the future, innovation and technology. And to talk about high purity and supply safety, Brazil has been, for the last 20 years, basically a synonym to supply safety. And that's what we are here to deliver. We can work with our clients for 12 months advance contracts with shipments that can be organized and planned as per client's desire. Okay? So I think I've exceeded my time. I'm sorry. Please, Najla. Thank you, guys. Thank you for your attention.
Yes, we are very short in time. I was just advised here to speed it up a bit, so I will skip the questions, okay? And I will pass the floor to Mr. Julio, who was very kind to take our request to replace another participant that couldn't join us. Julio, I'd like you to talk about the Sesame and the Sesame market. From your perspective and your experience in trading in pulses for a very long time, so that we can also give this information to everyone here.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for inviting me. Coperaguas, Cooperativa Agroindustrial is a company, is a Brazilian company. We work with a cooperative system. We have 600 farmers associated, since small farmers to big farmers in irrigated area. Our main business is pulses, beans, popcorn, and sesame seeds. Sesame seeds, we are new in this business. We are 2 years only, but this market is increasing very fast in Brazil. So this year, too much challenges in Brazil. Due the logistics, shipping lines, everyone that stay here talking, we saw in all countries have the same issues with shipping lines, empty containers, the freight rates, and in Brazil it's not different. We are facing too much challenges also. No? Brazil is new in this market, but international market came expecting professional people from Brazil, and all companies here, you came expecting everybody will respect the contracts. Last year, Brazil sold $1,300, $1,400. The market go to $1,700, and everybody shipped the cargo. Everybody respect the contracts, and this year is different. This is another side, but Brazilian people is professional people, and we always respect the contracts. So we're expecting the same way from importers, from buyers, from traders, and Brazil is not here only today. We are looking for long-term business, and from Brazil, our market can expect professional people, and we can, for sure, we respect the contract any price.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Julio. I will pass the floor to Juliano now. Juliano has slides.
Hello, everybody. It's a pleasure to me be here with Julio, Najla, Pietro, and Bernardo. Represent our company, Dassoler Agronegócios. Well, I will share with you some numbers and what the Dassoler see in our market. Well, Dassoler Agronegócios is a family company in third generation. We are open since 2006, and we are based in Lucas do Rio Verde, Mato Grosso, Brazil. Today, we operate in more than 18 states. In terms of exports, we are the third largest in Brazil. We export to more than 35 countries, and we do the whole cycle: planting, harvesting, and exporting. We have strong partnerships with farmers for years, and we, as Bernardo too, are always looking for the high quality. Well, people ask to us how we see the market here. We see the market, we have a good partnership with the farmers, and we talk with them, and to have a good planting of sesame seeds, this must be available to them. So, because they can plant another products like cotton, corn, popcorn. So we always talk with them, and if it is interesting to them, they will plant. An important thing that we'd like to say about the farmers in Brazil is that they are really companies, the farmers. They are not, we don't have too much small farmer there. We have big farmers. They have capital and a strong structure, and the plant and the harvest are 100% mechanics at. And they have your own machines and our range. We would like to say to us that as a family company, it's a pleasure to be with you here, especially with you that came from all the parts of the world, take airplane, take boat, and get jet lag, and especially be here with our friends. We are very happy and give to you and your family what we do with love from our family. Thank you very much to be here today.
Amazing, thanks. Thank you, Juliano. I will now pass the word for Pietro once again to wrap it all up and to sum what we try to expose here. Pietro also has slides, but he doesn't want his slides. He knows on his head.
Thank you, Najla. I've had the opportunity of already speaking, so I guess it's nice just to be sitting with our fellow colleagues in this industry in this battle, which is everyday sesame in Brazil. And to wrap it up, I think that the clear message here is that sesame is here to stay. It's not going to go anywhere, even though it's only 5 to 6 years old in the level that it is. However, what if the price goes down to $700? Will it still be here? Well, the farmer, like they say, has other options. But it's important just to say that the farmer doesn't finance himself. The farmer doesn't get up in the morning and say, I'm going to go and do sesame today. No, farmer does not know what sesame is. This is Brazil. We don't have sesame oil. We're not born with whole sesame. No, the open sesame sentence was not born in South America. We're very far from it. And I'm saying this just to clarify that the exporters sitting in front of you are the ones that really go to the bank, get the money, go to the farmer, push the farmer, give the farmer seeds, give the farmer know-how, give the farmer chemicals, and teach him how to do it and convince him to do it, even though the farmer is a businessman, like Juliano said, has money to do it, and will, for the most times, follow the contract, like Julio said. But it's us who are the ones that are pushing it. So if the product goes down to $700, what are we doing? What is it going to happen? I still believe sesame will still be there, but it's a big country with a lot of areas where most of the people you and I know today will probably not go back to the same seed as he has options to go in the next year.
Correct, correct. Pietro, I think that's the most important message at this point, that we take the risks, actually you take the risks, the exporters, and there is a threshold for this. Also, I'd like to continue with my slides if possible and go to the questions later. As it was there, and it will be in a few seconds. We have a project within our association, which is sponsored by the government. The name is Brazil Superfoods. So we make many events all over the world and bring our exporters to meet with you. I'd like to leave, can you put the slides back, please? I'd like to leave an invitation for you to join us in Brazil and to come see firsthand the things we spoke about. So these are some of our associated companies. And we will, in April 2025, in Brasilia, host the Brazil Superfood Summit once again. This will be the 3rd edition of this event. And the goal is to mobilize you to come to Brazil and to understand everything we spoke about over here, to see our facilities, our fields, to get to know our farmers, to understand everything we are trying to explain to you over here. It will be a pleasure to have you there. If you want more information, please come talk to me. We will send to you directly. And there is also my contacts there. I'm not a trader, I'm not a broker. I work representing the sector and connecting you with our exporters. For the questions, one of them was about the phyto, why so difficult? And I will hand this question for Julio, because it was inside his duties of talking about, it's one of his subjects. So why is the government having so many difficulties to issue the phyto this year? What do you think, and how we can work around that, Julio?
Bernardo showed the numbers of Brazil. Many products, we are the leaders, or number 2 or number 3. And this year, Brazil has record in soybeans exports, sugar, coffee, wood, corn. So the Brazilian ports have too many cargos. So the Minister of Agriculture has a big demand to process, the custom process, and is delaying too much. Sometimes the cargo reaching destination and the documents is not ready. So the phyto we are facing for beans, for popcorn, for sesame seeds as well. But we are trying to push the Brazilian government to improve this situation. This is the real situation. We hope they can improve, but some shipments, yes, has some delay to issue the phyto.
Thanks, Julio. Another question, mechanized farming may lead to higher levels. Oh, sorry, we are going to get back to that one later. Customers tell us Brazil has FFA problem. We never faced this. What are you guys doing to educate the industry? I believe what Bernardo talked about, the industry has received this feedback for a while and is looking and going after solutions to mitigate the FFA problem, to solve it. Actually, I believe it started to reading what exactly is the problem and trying to understand where FFA usually increases, and improving their own facilities and the handling. Once again, this is the process of a country that started very, very recently, and we are, I believe, in a very quick learning curve to address the issues that our customers send to us. If China approved import Brazilian sesame, do you believe you have competition than other countries to export to China, and why? This one is for you.
Very simple, yes. I believe we are very competitive. I believe we are very competitive against everybody. As long as the price makes sense and the demand is there, I think we are on the game.
Perfect, perfect. The last one, does Brazil do only vessel for food commodities, or is it container possible too?
Brazil already shipped in the bulk, big bags, in the bulk for some country for South America. Soybeans and corn is in vessel, in bulk vessel, but our main business is in the bags, 50 kgs, and big bag 1 ton in containers. And
Excellent.
one thing about China, we are here in China, so we hope China can look with good eyes to Brazil. Brazil is not a competitor. We can do a good partner, a new supplier, one more option to supply sesame seeds. No, we are improving the quality every year. We are looking to start with new varieties. So we're asking, please, China, open to Brazilian seeds and open to Brazilian beans also.
Perfect. I think that's a great request to finish this panel. I'd like to thank you all for staying here with us. And I'd also like to thank our participants for joining us. Thanks.